Welcome back to my technical drawing and design class. In this video, we are going to continue on with our Saturn module or model that we are doing. At this point, we should have all of our rings done. We should have the planet done. We're just going to then build our stand and our base. This is going back to our original idea of what we're creating here. We have our planet done. We have our rings done. We are to step 3, the stand, the S stand. So a couple things, let's look at this. First off, we can see that the y-axis goes directly through the middle of this S. I'm going to go on either side of the S. So I'm going right through there with my y-axis. I'm no longer on the x-axis, but I'm below it and kind of paralleling it. So what I know is I can still use these axes to set what I need. And then the base we'll get to in a minute. So let's go ahead and work with this. Now realize when we look at this S here, the S, it's moving around in a bunch of different shapes or different directions. It would not be just a single extrude. It would not be a single revolve. But Inventor has this really cool tool called, we can create a sweep. And that's what we're going to do. To create a sweep, we need to have 2 sketches. 1, we need to have the shape in which we want to sketch. And 2, we need to have the actual path that we want to sketch along, or we want to sweep along. So let's go ahead and create this. The first thing I'm going to do, knowing that I want this thing, when I look at it, to be pretty, I'm going to switch over my view cube to the right. So now I'm looking at the right of it. And what I'm going to do from this right side is I'm going to create the shape of that I'm going to be going along the path with. Let me go ahead and start my 2D sketch. It's asking me for my which of the planes do I want to use. Looking down here, I have a Y plane and a Z plane. So that's what I'm going to look for, the YZ plane. Here, my origins, hover over top of YZ, it lights up. That's the exact plane I want. Perfect. Now I'm just going to create a circle here. You can do this if you wanted to have a flat face to your S here. A rectangle would work. If you decide to do that, make the long side vertical and then the short side be that horizontal. But for me, I'm just going to do a circle here. I'm happy with that. And I'm going to make my circle, I'm going to make it 1 inch. I think. Now, let's go with 1.5 inches. I feel better about that. 1.5. There we go. That is going to be how wide this S is. Later on, if I decide to change it, which I might, we'll see. Now I need to put dimensions in here because you can see down here at the bottom, it says 2 dimensions are needed. Let me go ahead and put the 2 dimensions in. First one, it wants to know this circle, how far of it is it off either the horizontal or the vertical axis. So it looks like I'm going to do the horizontal axis first, which at this point it's Z. Remember, we turned our model. So I'll go find the Z axis. And you can see that green line, it shows up right through here. There's that Z-axis again. That's what I want. And how far off do I want this to be? Now, in knowing the size of this planet, which I did 6 inches, I can half that. That'd be 3 inches plus half of this. So that'd be 3. Let's see what 3.75 does for us. See how good my math is. Sweet. It looks like it's right on. Top of my circle is sitting right here. I'm happy with this. I'm going to now grab the geometry again for the dimensions, and I'm now going to look for my y-axis. How far off y-axis am I? And I'm going to put this directly on here. I'm pretty sure that I don't have to line this up, but since I like everything to be fully constrained, I am now fully constrained, and I know I'm in the right position that I want to be. So very good. And I also know that when I start my sketch, I want to be 3.75 inches down for my S. So I already know that dimension now, 3.75. So I'm going to finish the sketch, and I'm going to be happy with it. Let me go ahead and turn my cube now. So I'm now looking at the front. And this is where I'm going to build my S off of. I'm going to be using the XY plane. So I'll start a sketch. XY plane. It shows up. Very good. I'm happy with this. And I am now going to create my S. Easiest way I found to do the S is I'm going to grab an arc here. Grab from the drop down. I'm going to grab a 3-point arc. I'm just going to do this out here in the middle of nowhere. I'm going to click. How far do I want half of my S to be? And I think I'm going to have this one go down, let's go 4 inches. I think I'll be happy with that. I'll press tab. I think it will. Come on. Let's try again. My computer just locked up on me. Sorry about that. Arc. Starting spot. There you go. So let's make this 3 inches. And my degrees, I am going to take this thing down 90 degrees. Hit tab. It's actually going up. I went the wrong way. Make this a negative 90. And there it's going down. I think I'm not going to be a big fan. So I'm going to make it 6 inches. We're going to make this thing taller. Yeah, 6 inches and 90. There we go. I now have this vertical line coming. I am happy with that. And how far out? Since I went with a 6-inch line, I'm just going to make this equal to 6 divided by 2. I know that's 3 inches, but I just wanted to show the math. And we automatically figure this out. And I just realized that I did that backwards. But that's okay. I can make this work. I goofed. It's okay. Arc. Once again, 3-point. I am going to start from the end point. I'll wait for that green dot to show up. Perfect. I'm going to come up. This is going to go up 6 inches. My degrees, 90. I'm nice and perpendicular. Happy with that. And now I am going to come out this way 3 inches. Press enter. It's starting to look like an S. 2 dimensions needed. It needs where I am off the X and the Y. But I think I want to go ahead and continue the S out. So I'm going to make a line. I'm going to come right off this end point. Wait for that green dot to show up. There we go. I am going to come out. Since I already went 3 inches, this line will be another 3 inches. My degrees will be 0. So I have a nice horizontal line here. I'm happy with that. Press enter. And let's grab another line and do it off the bottom here. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Don't do that. There we go. And I got my line. I'm going to grab it right off this green dot. Bring it out horizontally. Again, 3 inches. And this time it's going to be 180 degrees. Perfect. I like that. Press escape. And it looks like I have an S. It just happens to be purple, and I have a lot of dimensioning going on. But since I'm working off of endpoints, all I need now are my final 2 dimensions. I'll come in here for dimensions. I'm going to grab this green dot, and then I need to come off of this axis. So with that, I will figure out that it's the x-axis, I believe. Yes, it is. I will click that. It's now asking me, hey, how far do you want to be? And as I mentioned before, we already know this number. It's 3.75. That's what we figured out before. So I'm going to go with 3.75. That put me right in line with where I want to be. And we'll verify this in a little bit. And I'm going to now dimension that same point off of the y-axis. Grab the y-axis. I'll put this up here somewhere. And how far that do I want to be? I want to be directly on it because I know that this is the center of my S because of the way I built it. So I'm just going to say 0. Bam. There we go. I now have my S perfectly aligned. And I built my circle already before. So if I turn my model, come back in. There's the circle, and everything is perfectly lining up. I am happy with this. So I'll finish the sketch. Okay, I give you a slightly different angle to look at this. Circle is showing up right there. It's landing right at the top of my circle or my planet, and my path is going to go right through there. This is going to work. Now, the magic. Here we go. We are going to grab the sweep. And when we do this, first thing it's going to ask me is, I'll bring this over. It's going to ask me with the profiles. We want this circle. So I'm just going to grab the circle. 2 profiles. Very good. But I can see the whole circle is lit up. This is what I wanted. My pathway, I'll click on that. And my pathway is this S that we created. And check that. We already have the shape showing up. Let me grab the front view. There it is. S for Saturn. I'm happy with this. If I wanted to, I could taper it. If this was a cutout, I could change the Boolean, but I want to join here so everything looks good. And there I go. I have my S for Saturn. Admittedly, if I was doing this in a real world, I'd probably want this up into Saturn just a little bit. But for what we're dealing with, we're just going to let it set right on top. All right, this is a good time to hit the save button. Do that. Save often, save well. Now we are going to create the base. I come down here. Once again, Saturn, planets done, rings are done, time or stand S is done. We're now going to do the base. Now the base, I can see that it goes through the y-axis, and it is paralleling the x-axis. So what I'm going to do, and realizing the way that this thing kind of lays flat, and I'll be extruding down, I can see that I'm going to probably want to make another work plane that is parallel to this x-plane. That way I can draw my 2-dimensional sketch way down here and then extrude off of it. So let's do it. All right, now if we want, we could do the math on this thing, kind of figure out all the stuff. Hey, where am I at? What I'm going to do is I'm just going to start a 2D sketch that will help us out. 2D sketch, I'm going to base this right off of my XY, it looks like. Yes, this is off my XY. XY plane. There you are. All right, and I know that this is my x-axis. This is how I've been building this. So there we go. I need to find out what this distance here is. So I can grab a line. I can come right off of this point, wait for it to turn green. There it goes. And then I just need to find this axis. So I'm going to come here. I'm going to take this center point. It's not going to let me. Of course not. I'm going to hit tab real quick. Let's set this to 90 degrees. And now I know that I'm in line. And there's the center point. As I moved up, it turned green for me because again, this comes down to a design intent, and I intended that middle of that axis and the origin point to go right through the middle of this. So I can now come up, find that point, and click on it, and it gives me my line. Press escape. And here is that line. I am fully constrained, which is good. But what I do not see is that dimension, which is unfortunate. Well, give me the dimension 16 and a half. Cancel that. I probably should have built this off of this a little bit. It would have helped my life out, but it's going to be what it's going to be. So 16 and a half, and I'm just going to turn this into a construction line. There we go. So I have this 16 and a half inch line, gets me right down here. This is what I'm going to build my work plane off of. My plane, I'm going to grab an offset from plane. Which plane do I want to offset from? I'm just going to go looking for that plane. There it is. The XZ. XY is going the wrong way. Yeah. XZ plane. And now it's asking me how far do I want this plane to be. And it's showing up right over here. Somewhere. Where'd he go? Escape. Give me that again. Work plane, offset from plane. There you go. I don't know why it's putting it way over here. And I know that was 16 and a half. 16.5. Press enter. And I think I just put that thing way in the wrong space. Because that thing was going up, I needed it to go the opposite way. There you go. Put it over there this time. Let's make this a negative. Negative 16.5. That way I go down, and there I can see it showing up now. Here it is, negative 16.5. Check mark. I am happy. If I orbit this thing around a little bit, I can see the plane down there. This is exactly what I want. So I'm going to name a couple things here. This is my base plane, is what I'm going to call this. There we go. Base plane. Now I'm going to rename my sweep here. This is my S stand. There you go. S stand. Perfect. And this sketch here, this is just a reference. I no longer need this thing. I'm just going to delete it. There we go. Delete. Away it goes. Perfect. Now let's go ahead and create the base. Very simple. I'm going to start a 2D sketch. I'm going to do it right off of my base plane that we just created. I'm going to flip this thing around a little bit so I can see what I'm doing better. There we go. Now I'm on the bottom. I'm going to create a circle. I'm going to base it right off this origin. And how big do I want this thing to be? I think I want to make my base, I don't know, maybe 16 inches. Diameter. Actually, I think I want it bigger than that. Let's make it, oops. Do that again. Circle. Well, looks like a good thing. I think I'll do that. I'll go with 20 inches. I like that. Cool. I am fully constrained because I built this off of the origin point. So I can finish the sketch. Extrude. What does I want to extrude? I want to extrude my base here. I am going to extrude the opposite way. I'll flip it. So we're sitting on there. I am going to make the distance of this 2 inches. And then I think I'm going to put a little bit of a taper in this thing. So maybe what would 45 look like? And maybe a bit too much. About 20 degree. Well, I like 20. So I'll put a 20-degree taper on it. Say okay. And there we go. Let me go ahead and rename this first. This is my base. And I'm going to hide my, come on, turn the visibility off on my base plane so we don't look at it. And here we are. We now have a model of Saturn. This is it. This is what we're going for. Now, admittedly, if we were going to put this in production, we would need to put some type of bracing between these different rings. But for this assignment, we're letting it float. So that is it. We have created a model of Saturn. We created it with a base, an S stand, the planet, and the 7 rings. If there are any questions, please let me know.